Right now, on to the point. The rising cost of health insurance.
People simply can't afford some of the premiums.
With the Affordable Care Act tax credits gone, the options left, and where you can still find help. A deadly fire rips through a New Year's Eve celebration. The investigation into how the tragedy unfolded. It's a new year and a chance to reset your health.
Dry January is a great opportunity to stop drinking.
How a month without alcohol can boost your well-being. And in Champions of Hope.
Feeding a need, how one Carmichael family is opening their hearts and pantry to people who are hungry.
Well, health insurance costs are going up this year. Tax credits that helped low-income families afford their insurance plans on the federal marketplace have now expired. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell, and this comes after Congress failed to pass a bill to extend them after months of debate.
I hope that Democrats would come along with us if they're serious about solving the problem and bringing down cost of health care.
That's a failure of leadership.
This bill represents the largest cut to Medicaid in American history.
Now, millions of Americans will pay more for insurance, but premium costs across the board are going up, and it's impacting almost everyone. Jen Sullivan explains how much more people could be paying and the options out there to help you save some money.
Millions of Americans will be paying more for health insurance this year. That's because tax credits that help people pay for plans on the federal marketplace, known as Obamacare, have expired.
Sadly, it's no longer going to be affordable.
Jeremy Coolish says he lost his job in the spring, forcing him and his wife to get insurance through the marketplace. He says their current plan costs $392 with tax credits, but those subsidies are now gone.
Without subsidies, it would be something like $1,608.
Millions of Americans are in a similar dilemma. KFF estimates 24 million people signed up for insurance through the Affordable Care Act in 2025. Of those enrollees, roughly 92% received subsidies. Without those tax credits, KFF says average annual premium costs could rise by 114%.
People simply can't afford some of the premiums that have been happening in this coming year.
Zonjanice Jacobs is an insurance navigator in Florida. Every state employs navigators who are available to answer your questions for free.
They know what kind of prescriptions they're going to need or what kind of doctor's appointments they're going to need to go to or other procedures that they're going to have. We make sure that we walk through the process by looking at each one of those plans that fit within the confines of their budget.
Here are some other options. Many states have expanded the income qualifications for Medicaid. Go to healthcare.gov/lower costs to see if you qualify. Private insurance plans, lower premiums, but out-of-pocket costs may be higher and there may be more services not covered. Short-term medical plans, low monthly premium costs, but very high deductibles. To help lower prescription costs, many big pharmacies recommend using coupons through GoodRx. It's free. And AARP also offers free prescription discount cards.
And the deadline to sign up for insurance on the Affordable Care Act is January 15th. And you might also want to take note of some other changes happening today. They could affect things like your Social Security benefits. So take a look at this. For some seniors, money could get a little bit tighter. Social Security recipients are getting a 2.8% cost of living increase. The administration's earnings test and wage cap and maximum benefit are also going up. But Medicare Part B premium costs are rising almost $18 a month. That's one of the largest increases in the program's history. Also effective today, President Trump's travel ban has been expanded to include 39 countries identified as posing national security and public safety risks to the United States. And speaking of travel, listen to this next story. Approximately 325,000 people who have a California Real ID must take action to be reissued another one due to a system issue from 2006. The agency says it impacts the expiration dates of Real IDs given to people legally in the country on visas or a permanent residency. The DMV is now contacting people impacted by the mistake. The DMV, listen to this part, the DMV will not call, text, or email you to ask you for your personal information or payment to address the issue. And if you do want more information on that, I know they have all of that on their website. Well, the new year means a new session in the California legislature as legislators make their way back for the start of session on Monday, right around the corner. We ask about priorities for the new year. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh has what we can all expect.
The important word of affordability.
If the 2025-2026 legislative cycle was the year of housing, as Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas put it, this 2026 to 2027 one will be more of the same, political analysts say.
For Democrats, of course, they're talking about housing, more social services, healthcare, and Republicans are talking about affordability in terms of a reduction in regulations.
The buzzword of affordability may be bipartisan, but it's the difference in approach.
The big question will be, how do we pay for it at a time when our state budget is many billions of dollars in deficit. Not only that, you're going to get pushback from the Trump administration in terms of various programs and funding. You've already gotten that.
But certainly state legislators are going to be faced with the consequences of the elimination of that federal funding.
Those cuts already top of mind for Democratic leaders. In reacting to news of this year's budget deficit, Speaker Rivas stating, quote, "We must invest limited dollars on sustainable, vital essentials, healthcare, food aid, housing, education. When Republican policies raise prices and fall short, Democrats will keep fighting for real affordability and lasting prosperity." Rivas was not available for an interview for this story. Neither was new Senate President Pro Tem Monique Limon, though she said this in an unrelated November interview.
And when we don't have the ability to predict everything that's coming to us, whether it's globally or at the national level, and that changes how we prioritize the work we do, how we prioritize the budget.
This as Democrats and Governor Gavin Newsom boast new laws aimed at significantly lowering housing costs, as well as barriers to construction like environmental review regulations.
Is that a surprising priority at all?
No, not at all. That has been the Democratic priority all along.
Meantime, Assembly Minority Leader Heath Flora telling us, quote, "We aim to ease Californians' cost of living burdens by cutting unnecessary costs and addressing the rising costs of energy and insurance." And Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones saying in part, quote, "We live in the most unaffordable state in the nation and every other priority comes second to fixing that. At the same time, we're doubling down on efforts to fully fund and implement Prop 36. Jenny Huh.
And that was our Jenny Huh reporting. And I do want to mention Proposition 36 is the increase in penalties for repeat offenders in drug and theft crimes, for which nearly 70% of Californians voted for. Both Republican leaders were also unavailable for an interview for this story. But switching to our next story, eligibility for SNAP benefits, formerly known as food stamps, has undergone some changes. With the passage of the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, more people now have to meet certain work requirements in order to be eligible for ongoing assistance. And this comes as food prices are high and people are facing economic uncertainty. ABC 10's Becca Hotbecker joins us live in studio to show how one family is responding. And this is marking To The Point's first Champions of Hope of the year.
Right, Alex. 1 in 7 households in the U.S. experiences food insecurity, according to the latest data. Now, you'll recall during the federal shutdown, SNAP benefits were largely delayed and diminished during the month of November, leading many families to worry whether they could put food on the table. Well, that inspired one Carmichael family to do something, and the community sure has stepped up.
Do you want to put the rice with the rice over here?
Amanda Boucher and her 9-year-old son Landon are organizing the free community food pantry they've placed in their driveway for anyone to use.
The people that come, honestly, it has been the biggest lesson of don't judge a book by its cover, because these are normal people. These are people that you work with. They're people that you're at the store with, and you have no idea that they're hungry.
She, her wife, and their 4 kids started the pantry about 2 months ago in response to the federal government shutdown. That's when SNAP food benefits were in jeopardy and largely delayed and diminished during the month of November.
That was awful. And I know that the restrictions are changing and everything on it, just a bit. But even when it came back, we talked about, well, do we keep it going? But it was like, obviously, it's needed.
The Bouchers took to social media and asked fellow community members to join them in donating food. Since then, they've seen a steady stream of donations and people in need of food utilizing the pantry.
Some of the kids that I see come with the parents, and they're jumping around and so excited to see the little snacks or things like that for them.
Amanda says people are welcome to take items and leave them. And she says some people do both.
The one person that I speak to regularly that comes by, she donates what she's getting somewhere else that she's not going to use, and then she takes what she can, and it's just very cool to see that people that are less fortunate are still giving.
All of this is a lesson about compassion and giving for the Boucher's young kids.
We talk about how we're filling bellies, and we've reflected back on, can you imagine if you came to me and said, hey, Mom, I'm hungry, and we didn't have anything, and that there are people like that.
She says her family plans on continuing to operate the pantry so long as there's a need. And this comment posted today shows there is. Just stopped and grabbed some food and cried on my way home. You have no idea how grateful I am that this exists. Thank you so much.
It's absolutely just shocking how often people come. I love it, but I'm also sad. It makes me sad that we have it, but it's our way of helping.
And I love that Spider-Man was helping out. It really is a good example to set for the kids, too. And I know you said that their family was so sweet, but the Bouchers were also really talking about how invisible the need really is. You never know who is living paycheck to paycheck.
That is so true. You never know who is the single parent worrying about putting food on the table, or someone who maybe has experienced a major medical expense or a job loss, right? Who's just trying to feed themselves. And as for the people who returned food that they got from another food bank and then swapped that out, some people might say that seems a little odd, but consider maybe someone is living out of their vehicle and doesn't have access to a kitchen. They can't boil that water to cook the pasta. Someone might have celiac disease and can't eat pasta, for example, because there's wheat in that. So there's a lot of reasons why someone might not be able to eat the food, but I love that they're paying it forward. They're giving it to this food bank, to this pantry, and then taking what they can eat, what they can use at home.
And I do want to make sure that we get to that if you at home do want to help, we do want to give you some information right now.
Yeah, well, the Bouchers say they hope this story encourages people to maybe start a pantry in their own front yard. But if you want to donate to theirs, she invited me to share the location with you. That's on your screen there, 6417 Sandstone Street in Carmichael. Shelf stable food, hygiene items, and pet food are all welcome. And thank you.
All right, Becca, thank you for sharing this story. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to our team for more information. Still ahead onto the point, from bare ground to full coverage in just days, fresh snow is drawing crowds to local ski resorts. What to know before you head up to the mountain. And a new year and a fresh start, how one simple change could boost your health.
And we've had some rain and we've had a little snow over the last 24 hours. You see it here behind me, but there is a bigger storm on the way tomorrow night, and it's really going to bring snow to the elevations. I've got the forecast after the break.
But first, in other headlines tonight, the city of Lodi making progress combating crime. Only one person was killed in a homicide. It's the lowest number for Lodi police since 2017. That one homicide case happened towards the end of the year on Sunday inside an apartment complex. Police say it's an open investigation, but might be gang-related.
A lot of people were screaming, trying to escape, and I saw a lot of people on the floor.
A New Year celebration turned deadly in the heart of the Swiss Alps. At least 40 people were killed and more than 100 were hurt from a fire at an alpine ski resort. Police say the fire started around 1:30 a.m. No word yet on the cause, but terrorism is not suspected. And an adult and child were rescued today by a swift water rescue team after they were trapped in a vehicle by rising floodwaters. This is in the Mission Valley, San Diego area. Rescue crews do want to remind everyone to avoid all flooded areas caused by heavy rain. On this New Year's Day, many people are choosing to take advantage of the recent snowfall at some local ski resorts. At Boreal Mountain Resorts, the slopes were looking pretty busy with skiers and snowboarders. Boreal is one of the many local ski resorts that went from barely any snow before Christmas to a full blanket of it.
We've gone from 0 to 100 very quick up here. We had one chairlift spinning and basically one run going, and now after that storm that just came through, we're able to open 100% of our resort.
A minor power outage did impact the Soda Springs area this morning, but was quickly restored and had minimal impacts to the resort's operations. If you are planning to head up to the snow, it is important to check the Caltrans Quick Map before leaving for any possible delays or restrictions. All right, let's get a check of your forecast. I know meteorologist Brendan Minchef, you are tracking that weather impact alert.
Yeah, and it's good advice what you just said, too, because you're going to want to know what's going on in the high country this weekend. Chains are very likely to be needed because we're talking about 2 to 4 feet of snow, which really has not even started falling yet. The snow really starts Friday night into Saturday morning when that colder air arrives, and it's going to be snowing more or less all weekend long in the high country, and that'll continue through Monday, too. And we'll be looking at another 1 to 3 inches of rain. 3 is kind of on the high side, generally another 1 to 2 inches of rain in the valley through the weekend. Still a few showers out there, but these are pretty light showers, nothing like what we're going to see by the time we get to Friday and into Saturday, and some flurries in the high country. Rainfall from Wednesday through 6 p.m. today, though, is really not bad. A lot of the valleys seen 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain, and then the foothills have seen between 1 and 2 inches of rain so far. The other thing that you may notice today, it was much warmer. We made it to 61 in Sacramento, 64 in Stockton, 60 in Modesto. We've been in the 40s to end December, so we noticed that 10-degree jump in temperatures today. Right now, 58 in Sacramento, 57 in Stockton, 56 in Modesto, 52 in Jackson, 36 in Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. We'll start off Friday morning in the upper 40s to mid-50s with some rain, especially early in the overnight period on Friday. Friday afternoon, though, dry through most of the day, especially early in the day, most of the afternoon dry. But then as we get into the later evening hours, we're going to start to see that rain coming back with a winter storm warning posted for the high country. That begins later in the day on Friday. So there were those showers through the overnight. By Friday at lunchtime, again, still cloudy, but we are going to get peaks of sunshine. This is 6 p.m. on Friday, still mainly dry, but you do see the leading edge of that stronger system coming in by the time we get into those mid-evening hours. And by the late evening hours on Friday, we're looking at widespread moderate to heavy rainfall in the valley with snow really developing. Snow picks up through the overnight. This is 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Some heavier rain in parts of the foothills. By the lunchtime to afternoon hours, though, we could be looking at some thunderstorms in the valley. Some storms possible late in the day on Friday, but the better chance for thunderstorms is going to be on Saturday afternoon when we're in that level 1 marginal risk for that potential for some severe storms. Almost no snow expected until we get into the weekend. And this is a Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Few inches at lake level, but then we're looking at feet of snow up at the high passes. One more thing here. It is going to be a little gusty through the afternoon, about 20 to 25 mile an hour winds, but the strongest winds up to about 35 miles per hour Friday night into Saturday morning. There is a wind advisory for the upper Sacramento Valley where wind gusts could be up to about 45 miles per hour. But for the most part, that is out of our viewing area. Weather impact alert continues through Monday. Just whatever you're doing this weekend, whether you're in the valley or the high country, keep an eye on the forecast. Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, from better sleep to more energy, why dry January is gaining momentum. When we come back, we'll share some tips to help you stick with it, even if you slip up. And later, a powerful journey for peace with the goal of spreading compassion every step of the way. Dry January. You might have heard of it. You might even be doing it. You might have some friends doing it. It is a time when people start off the new year giving up alcohol or simply cutting back on how much they drink for the month. Experts say staying sober for even a short amount of time can help.
It's a new year, and if you're hoping for a healthier start, experts say to try staying sober.
Dry January is a great opportunity to stop drinking or even reduce your drinking for the month.
Psychologist Katie Wickowitz says abstaining from alcohol even for 4 weeks can make a big difference in your health. She says many people experience sleep improvements, increased energy, weight loss, greater physical activity, and improved well-being in general. But she says giving up those cocktails can be challenging.
Get your friends and family on board with doing it with you so that you have that social connection and that social support to get through the month.
Next, Wickowitz says to know your go-to non-alcoholic beverage, whether it's sparkling waters, club soda with lemon, or a mocktail. That way it's easy to order when you're out, or you can stock your fridge at home. She says to also be aware of the hard times during dry January.
Times when it's challenging might be a great way to reflect on how we're actually maybe relying on alcohol more than we wanted to.
Finally, Wickowitz says if you have a slip up, don't let it derail you.
If you're trying dry January and you experience a time of drinking, it's totally fine to just start it back up again.
Right after the break, a cross-country walk with a powerful message, the Buddhist monks on a journey for peace. On this New Year's Day, a cross-country journey is calling for peace. A group of about 24 Buddhist monks is trekking to Washington, D.C., according to their Facebook page. With nearly 500,000 followers, they are doing this to raise awareness of peace, loving kindness, and compassion across America and the world. Now, this peace walk started on October 26th in Fort Worth, Texas. They are about 40 miles east of Atlanta right now. They've persisted despite even some injuries in a traffic accident just last month. A truck hit the escort vehicle following the group, and 2 monks were hurt. They are both recovering. The monks are joined by their loyal dog, Aloka, whose name means enlightenment. And on that note, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. I hope your new year is off to a great start. You already know what I'm going to say. If you have something that you think we should be looking into, you can always reach out to us.